So we're into the draw for the round of 32, and we're drawn against Royal Antwerp. So the first leg was away, and these two legs should probably be a show on their own, if I'm being honest, lads, especially the first match. So the first leg, see Rangers winning 4-3. But where to start with this match? I mean, 7 goals, 4 penalties, one penalty that was never a penalty, one penalty that was a penalty but wasn't awarded, and then I've put VAR with 3 question marks after it because I don't understand VAR. 7 minutes of terror at the end of the first half, a shocking referee, injuries to Tav and Roof, the Antwerp goalkeeper, and a red card. And I genuinely think that's just scratching the surface with this match. This is a crazy, crazy game of football. So VAR was in use, obviously, for this match. Even though it really didn't seem like it was in use, especially for the first half. Rangers are denied a penalty after a header from Goldson clearly strikes the Antwerp defender's hand. Rangers take the lead thanks to a fumble by the Antwerp keeper. Joe Aribo slots home from outside the box. Antwerp then equalise from a header from pretty much the edge of the box. The 7 minutes of terror then happen, where there's 4 minutes of added on time announced. The referee decides to continue with 7 minutes of added on time for reasons best known to him. On the 6th minute of added on time, VAR then allowed the ref's decision to award a penalty against a Steve Davis. I can't say it's a tackle I can't because it isn't a tackle. It's a breath of fresh air on the boy's ankle. And the penalty was awarded, and Rangers go in at half-time 2-1 down. Rangers then equalise when VAR gets one right for a tug on the jersey on Morelos. Barisic takes over penalty duties due to Tav going off injured. Antwerp then score from pretty much out of nowhere. It's a good finish to them, to be fair. Kent then sparks into life and scores a real quality goal to get Rangers level. At 3 each, both teams have a chance to score back-to-back, pretty much. Kent has a chance. They go up the park pretty much straight away, but it's denied by McGregor. Rangers survive a scare with a save from McGregor, then a goal line clearance from Ryan Jack. Rangers then get a penalty after a shot from Kent hits the opponent's hand. Barisic steps up, makes it 4-3. Rangers hold on, and it finishes Antwerp 3, Rangers 4. Scotia, I'm away for a lie down.
Yeah, it was a mental one. It was like not even, the 7 minutes of terror in the first half, and then it was the 7 minutes of a wee bit of terror as well at the end. Because I mean, I was watching the highlights, and again we've done quite an in-depth immediate match reaction to this game that folk can go back and listen to if they want to. Because I think what we say immediately after it isn't too far out the way. Sometimes in immediate match reactions you can maybe be wide of the mark, but I think we were kind of covered it all there. If folk want an in-depth analysis of it, as it were, but that was a crazy, crazy night, wasn't it?
It's one of them. It's one of them ones, mate, that I think if you start trying to dissect it, we're going to literally be here till about 9 o'clock tonight. If they're literally trying to it's just one of them games of football where you're so happy the fact that we've got out. We're ahead. We've scored 4 away goals in Europe. And somehow you kind of feel hard done to because the referee was blatantly a moron. I think we all agreed on the post-match straight after it that the referee was blatantly... He's not a referee. He can't possibly be a referee. I think that's the first time we started complaining about referees in Europe. When all we do is complain about referees in Scotland, and I actually try to stop myself from doing it. But, Ali, this is just a bonkers game of football.
Yeah, I've seen a few bonkers games with Rangers in Europe, and I mean, if you look last couple of seasons in particular, we mentioned Spartak Moscow. You get the Braga game last year, which was to be at. What a game to be at! I think I said at the end of this game, I wish we were either at this game or we could have watched it in the pub together. It was one of those games that had everything for a neutral. It was an outstanding game, obviously with VAR in there as well. VAR worked. It didn't work the first half. It worked the second half. The referee in there and the goals in it. It had everything. And I thought Ryan Kent didn't start this game, did he? He didn't start. No, he didn't.
No, he came on.
I thought Ryan Kent turned the game for Rangers when he came on. I thought he looked hungry. The goal Ryan Kent scores to make it 3 each. What a goal it was. I mean, the way he drops a shot and just lashes into the goal, and to go 3 up. At 3 each, I'm thinking, right, I'm happy with that. I'll take a 3 each. Let's just manage the game out, and we'll take them back at Ibrox. And then, obviously, we get the penalty at the end, which I didn't think was a penalty. Looking, and the referee, in fact, the referee, to give him a bit of credit, sees that. He gives that without VAR. And fair play to Big Borna, because obviously Tav's not there anymore, so Borna's got to take penalties. He can only hit one side of the net, Borna, because he's left-footed. And
you were going to say that.
And it was a great penalty out of the 2 penalties. That was a perfect penalty, and he goes right up to the keeper because the keeper was noising him up. But I think Antwerp actually had a chance right after that to go 4 each, and it was just the way the game was, to be honest. But to come out of that game 4-3, 4 away goals as well, I was delighted. And like I say, one of the games, I just wish we could have watched it together in the pub and that. I think it'd be a great atmosphere, that game. I just think it would be brilliant.
Oh, they've been outstanding. I think I stared at the ceiling for a long time that night, just trying to kind of piece together what had happened throughout the game. Even after we'd done the kind of reaction to the game, I was like, I just never seen anything like that before in my life. And before we go any further, I said it on the post-match, Steve Davis, the penalty that he gets, they say that he concedes. That's not a fucking penalty. It just isn't a penalty. And no one would ever convince me otherwise that it's a penalty. But then it makes me question VAR quite a lot and whether I actually want that in Scottish football. How many times does that happen in Scottish football or something?
The only thing I would say in that, Carney, is I've watched quite a bit of English football this year because there's nothing to do, basically. So I have watched a lot of English football, and obviously we all know they've got VAR. I've seen a lot of penalties very similar to that in English football been given, and like yourself, if that's what's penalties is, I do not want it up here. And you see the offsides down there as well at times, and it's like, oh, come on. So I wouldn't want it up here.
See, the thing with VAR, though, because you notice this, English VAR compared with European VAR is different in the offside and things like that. I think you can, as an association, you can maybe use your own interpretation of how you would operate VAR and how it would work. So is that something they would look at and then in Scotland go, well, I don't know, I'm not entirely sure, but you definitely notice a difference between how VAR's operated down in England compared to on the continent. And you would imagine that something similar could happen if it was ever to happen in Scotland.
I think in Scotland, mate, if you have VAR, genuinely, mate, you're going to have about 9 penalties for each team.
You'll need 9 compliance officers as well to deal with it.
Compliance officers, God. But like it would end up like fucking 11-12 or something like that, like a game. It boggles my mind. And this was when I started noticing, I think it was more the second leg, the not putting the flag up for offside. When he's away, I fucking can't stand that. He's offside, just put your flag up. Do you know what I mean? Like
that is a stupid rule.
Played it to conclusion or something, isn't it?
That Wolves boy got injured a couple of weeks back.
That's
I think
right.
For something that they were playing to the completion of the phase because you're going full tilt.
Absolutely stupid. I can't stand that. But anyway, we'll move on from that. As I say, if people want a full breakdown of that, the post-match we did of that, if I don't say so myself, was a rather good one. It's mostly just me shouting about VAR, to be honest. That's really it. But we move on to the second leg. Rangers running out 5-2 winners, and we win on aggregate Dolly Parton 9-5. This game was almost as crazy as the first leg, but a much more comfortable, really, from a fan's perspective. Rangers start really well. Kent picks the pocket of the defender, sets up Morelos for the opener. Antwerp score an equaliser as Balogun has started at right back and has a torrid time up against Lukaku. Lukaku gives him all sorts of nightmares. Balogun will not want to be playing against him anytime soon. Rangers make the change at half time, and Patterson, who was part of the COVID-5, obviously comes on and plays a Balogun and immediately makes up for it. Rangers makes up for it to Rangers and to Rangers fans by scoring a fucking great goal 16 seconds into the second half, and you literally could not write it. Rangers then score the third with one of the goals of the tournament, in my opinion. Kamara to Hadji on the half turn, turns, plays it to Morelos. Morelos flicks it round his man, runs the other way and gets onto his own ball. Plays it in to Ryan Kent, and Ryan Kent scores a true team goal, possible to defend against, and Rangers are in cruise control. 3-1 on the night, 8-4 on aggregate. Rangers then decide to make it interesting with the token defensive calamity in Europe. So makes it 3-2 on the night when Goldson and McGregor clatter into each other. Barisic makes it 4-2 from the spot. Game's over and done now. And just to make sure, Scott Wright does really well down the right-hand side before he's brought down in the box, and said that Ted makes it 5-2 on the night from the penalty spot. Working 95 on aggregate, and Rangers are through at the last 60 in the Europa League for the second year in a row, Ali.
Yeah, continued the bomb scare that was the first game straight into the second game. I said I'd be quite happy with a 0-0 or a 1-0, something like a boring game, but definitely wasn't boring. They had the added factor where you had the COVID-3 on the bench, and we were all talking to each other, going, "Christ, what's going on here? They're on the bench and everything." And I think it was the first game. Balogun done all right in the first leg against Antwerp, but this was the first time we've seen Balogun can't play it right back against us when somebody's decent up against him, because he just get pulled apart. But
the warning signs were definitely there in that match with Balogun, no doubt.
100% they were there. And Patterson comes on in the second half, and like I said in the show which we done, I saw a text that as soon as he came on, I went, imagine he scores, and literally whatever how many seconds it was, he scores a goal, and everyone's going, what the hell's going on here? Now, if you didn't think these two games were mad enough, I mean, that was added into it as well. And the third goal, you said, a big contender for goal of the tournament. I really, and I like team goals. I know you two like team goals as well. That was an outstanding team goal. Alfie bullied them all night. And Big Borna getting another penalty, hitting it the same side again. And Big Eaton as well, getting a penalty as well. And apparently Big Borna says he's been doing well in training it, and they wanted to kind of reward him, which was nice of him. But 9-5 in aggregate through the last 16. I thought, yeah, he's another Belgium team.
I think Borna was probably just thinking, if I hit another penalty, this keeper's sure to save it because he knows where it's going. So he's like you said, you can hit it. But yeah, Scotia, I mean, yeah, okay, Rangers have conceded another 2 goals, but again, some of the play from Rangers in this game was brilliant, and we were well deserved to get through at the last 16.
Oh yeah, we were excellent, and one of my overarching memories of this game was how good Kent and Morelos were together. They were just on fire. They were completely in each other's wavelength, and it was just watching them at times was brilliant, and particularly for that our third goal, they were excellent. They were 2 of the players that were excellent in that goal. So yeah, it was another bit of a crazy night. I remember this. I was listening to that watch along party with Defoe and Tilsley, so I had a lot of my attention on that. So yeah, trying to remember back, and I'm just remembering hearing nuggets of what they were saying. And it was a good result to get through. You know, win quite convincingly, because although we won 4-3 away from home, you still you're never sure when you win 4-3. You're like, oh no, please don't be another crazy game. But thankfully it was crazy, but at least all the goals, Kerry, were in our favour this time, rather than quite so tight.
Yeah, yes, very much so. But yeah, you're spot on with Kent and Morelos. It was just, when they play like that, see when especially when Hadji gets himself involved as well, and they all start to click. I mean, it's amazing to watch, and it's brilliant to see, and the real team kind of ethos and the philosophy of football that Gerrard's obviously trying to get over really comes to the front, and you can see what they work on time and time again. But that third goal was just, honestly, just one of them goals where you're making the noises, as you say. If somebody didn't know you were watching football in the other room, they would think you were up to no good, because it was just pure football and sex, man. It was absolutely incredible. So Rangers very comfortably through.
Could I just jump in there? Carney Alfie had his wee minute of sportsmanship that I know that you weren't too happy about.
I forgot about that.
When he stopped.
That wasn't in the highlights, by the way. That's why I forgot about that. I remember that. No, I didn't like that. I'm still not over that. Thanks, Scotia. I wouldn't have done that. I still, my opinion hasn't changed on that. Ali, would you still raging at him for that?
Aye, that was just Paolo Di Canio moment, wasn't it? So hopefully that's the last time he does that.
You get
I like him, and he's a wee bastard. So this is doing that.
Aye, no, I'm not game for that. But anyway, We'll move on to the last 16, and Rangers were drawn against Slavia Prague. The first leg was away, and Rangers drew 1-1. Rangers travelled to Prague. First leg, safe to say, Rangers did not get started at all. Prague were very dominant. You could see just how well drilled that they are. A team that had put out Brenda's Leicester City, so it had to be taken seriously. It only took them 6 minutes for Stanchu to open the scoring with a great strike into the far corner. Rangers really struggled. Slavia could have been 2 or 3 up maybe in the first 30-35 minutes. But Rangers got themselves back into the tie out of nowhere, really, after great work from Hadji. Not chasing what we all thought was a lost cause. Manages to get the ball back across the face of the goal, and there's Big Helander to tap at home. Rangers were much better in the second half, had chances to take the lead. We were then witness to one of the best saves we've probably ever seen, gentlemen, to be honest. A ball in from Slavia, from a corner, free header, bullet header down to the bottom left-hand corner, if you like, and somehow McGregor gets down and manages to save it with the now infamous pinky save. And it's Slavia 1, Rangers 1. In all honesty, Scotia, this is probably a fair result in terms of the way that the first half went and compared to the second half. I know Rangers fans were always very quick to be, we had many chances, we had these chances, we had this, but considering the way the first 30-35 minutes went and the save that McGregor makes, which is truly outstanding. I don't need to explain the header, the save from the header. Everybody knows what I'm talking about, but 1 each, I'm thinking, just get them back to Ibrox now.
Yeah, I think you're right with the 1-1 being a fair result. They were the far better team in the first half an hour, 35 minutes. You could see that they were one of the better teams that would come up against. Yeah, but after that, we came into it again. Started growing into it. Second half, we were looking all right. And then they kind of get a wee bit of a second wind, I think, towards the very end of the game, where they're kind of chasing it for the win. And as you say, McGregor, we'll be speaking about that for a long, long time. Yeah, but 1-1 was a fair result, I think, in all honesty.
Ali, were you fancying our chances getting them back to Ibrox?
Yeah, I was biting your hand off for a 1 each before this game. Again, Slavia, with the draw, a lot of people thought Slavia Prague. Again, a lot of people go by name. Slavia Prague's not a massive European name as of such. A lot of people took notice of them because they put Leicester out, and Leicester were going decent in the Premiership. I know Leicester, I know you said kind of had a few indifferent results in the Premiership, but you could say that about every team in that Premiership this year. They've all had their kind of results. Then you looked into their form in the league. Slavia undefeated. They look very similar to Rangers. The way their formation was similar to Rangers. I thought they were a very good team, Slavia Prague. I thought they were unlucky not to beat us. Shagger got us out there with a 1 each. They should have been a couple of goals up the first half. Second half, I thought Rangers grew into the game, were much better. We could have nicked the game, to be honest. I think Goldson had a chance for a header, I think, to potentially get 2-1 for us. And 1 each was possibly a fair result. They would probably feel hard done by, but again, Alan McGregor's got his 1 each. And at that point, I think a lot of Rangers fans are going, we can't play that bad at Ibrox. We're at Ibrox as well, and we've got a right good chance. I did say I still had the tie at 50-50 because I thought they'll definitely score at Ibrox. I just thought they had too much quality. They were well drilled. It was just a really good football team, to be honest, and they could mix it up a wee bit. And obviously you'll come on now. What happened?
Yeah, so in terms of the first leg, though, the McGregor save deserves Rangers to get out there with a draw. It's every time I see it, and even now, like watching the highlights back for doing this show, I'm like, how did she save that? Like, how is it possible that guy does that? And whether he stays on or not next season as well, I suppose it's a conversation for another time. If he decides to bow out, especially if I've said to you before, if Rangers win the Scottish Cup this season, I can see McGregor probably saying that's plenty. I don't need to do this anymore. It would be a real shame because the guy's blatantly still got it in his locker and he's by far Scotland's best goalkeeper. There's not really any doubt about that. But again, the save really deserves it. It's the biggest talking point of that game, really, is that save. It's absolutely tremendous. So it takes on to the second leg. Now, obviously, this game's obviously going to be remembered for one thing and one thing only, and it's a shame that it's going to be like that. But we will break down the game a wee bit, and then we'll eventually come to the nonsense that we were all witness to. So it's almost a carbon copy, really, from the start of the start of the match. Rangers really didn't get going at all. Prague dominated most of the first half. They took the lead earlier on, and to be honest, if we're all being honest, it was pretty much game over from that point because Rangers never really clicked into any sort of gear. They should have had a penalty at the end of the half. Balogun having a bomb scare moment. Don't know what he was doing. Again, you need to question what VAR is actually for because it was a penalty in my eyes, but I'm not complaining that they never got it. Second half, Roof absolutely melts the Slavia keeper, busting him open, and he's then sent off. So the game's done and dusted pretty much at this point. Rangers are then down to 9 men with a red card that every single person could see coming as Balogun gets his second yellow. Stanchu then hits an absolute worldie of a free kick, to be fair to him, to finish the tie off. It finishes Slavia 2, Rangers 0. Rangers' European run obviously comes to quite a disappointing end in the last 16 in a tie that we probably could have done better in. Now, we can try and break down the game, lads, but obviously it's going to lead to 1 point and 1 point only. But before we get to that, Ali, in terms of the footballing over the two legs, especially the kind of second leg, the way Slavia played and the way Rangers played, Rangers can't really have any complaints, but I think as fans, we probably could be expecting a wee bit more.
Yeah, I've got no complaints with Slavia Prague going through in terms of both games. I thought they were the better team over the two legs. I think Scotia kind of said they kind of schooled the Rangers in terms of the way they played that game with the niggly fouls all the time, and they did. It's something Rangers will need to look to next season. We should be doing stuff like that because it's worked for Slavia Prague, and again they were so well drilled. And as soon as they got that first goal, it's dangerous because if we got the part and they nick it and get a second, it's dead for us with the away goal. So it was always dangerous. I thought we rode our luck the first half, like you say, the Balogun challenge. He was all over the shop. I thought it was a penalty as well. I'd be screaming for a penalty if it was Rangers. I thought we'd go out of jail. You're going into the second half. Rangers look better, to be honest. Couple of half chances, but as soon as Roof goes off, I mean, it's an accident. I mean, it looks horrific, but it's an accident. Kills the tie. Balogun was going off all day long. They had umpteen challenges, fouls before he gets sent off. Don't know why he didn't get taken off. Then he finally goes. Stanchu, who was a thorn the whole two legs, scores a great free kick. Do you say McGregor should do better at it? I've seen a few people saying that he could have done better at both goals, to be honest. I've seen that.
Well, I think it's the free kick. I think it's the way that the ball goes. It's kind of high to low. Do you know what I mean? So it's quite difficult for a keeper for that.
I think you're nitpicking, to be honest. The people I've heard say about McGregor and those goals, I mean, he's pulled a world out in the first leg and he saved us so many times. You got to look at the defending a lot of the time, to be honest. Again, wasn't he great? It was disappointing because we all know Rangers can play a hell of a lot better than what we did. And there's a good chance we could get this Slavia team in the Champions League qualifiers. I was looking at that and there's a very good chance we could get them. And hopefully we could right the wrongs of this because, yeah, they deserve to go through. Slavia, I've got no grumbles at all. They were a far better team, really organised team, deserved it much more than we did. It was just disappointing that we didn't show our full potential, if you know what I mean, because we've got it and we didn't show it at all. And obviously you'll come on to what happened, which was a shocking. I mean, what's happened after that as well, and it's still grumbling on in the background at the moment.
Yeah,
spoils this game, to be honest, and it spoils Slavia Prague, which was a great result for them to knock out Leicester City and knock out Rangers, the champions of Scotland. They should be celebrating that, to now go and play Arsenal and potentially put them out, and it's been spoiled by one guy, and now their team as well. Yeah,
we'll come to that, Ali. Scotia, your thoughts on the kind of the full-time result, obviously, and obviously Rangers being out. It's not the way that we wanted it to go, obviously, but I think we can't really complain.
No, I've got no complaints about the score. Like,
No, you're frozen.
Who's going into the black hole?
Oh, I should be back now. You seem to be
You're back now.
Right,
Start
good. So, I think I can't complain about the scoreline overall, because over the course of the two games, I think Slavia were the better team. But there's a bit of frustration that we seem to go out with a wee bit of a whimper. You know, obviously, barring the sort of last 10 minutes that we'll speak about, but throughout the footballing side in the first 80 minutes, we seem to go out with a wee bit of a whimper. Now, I'd mentioned it the week before. I don't know if this was down. We had a free week in between. I don't know if us playing at the weekend would have done us more good than it ended up not doing. Because if you look at Rangers seem to be doing really well in Europe and in the league when we're playing Thursday, Sunday, and their games are coming thick and fast. When we had this wee break, I don't know if that probably didn't help us as much as you would maybe like it to, because obviously Arfield could have probably done with another 90 minutes in his legs before playing again. But during the course of that game, obviously they scored, they've been a better team, but it was the exact same as the previous week. We come back into the game, and then I think he makes the wrong sub bringing Roof on. To be honest, I thought it should have been Hadji. I think Ali was the same. Then Roof obviously gets sent off, and then we're playing all right with 10 men, and then Balogun goes off. You knew Balogun was going off. You just knew it was going to happen. As soon as we got the first booking, you knew it was going off, and that's sub. I think I'd mentioned the post match. Maybe one of the reasons he didn't make it is because Roof had been sent off that wee bit before, but once Balogun goes off, yeah, that's it. Game done, and there's no way we're coming back from that. It's not St Mirren in the League Cup final, is it? Right then, it's a completely different kettle of fish.
And even though we've got pigeons, they didn't seem to be on our side, mate, at that point. So yeah, I was disappointed at the fact that we were out. I do think Rangers could have done better. I said that in our post-match as well. I do think we could have. But in terms of the way the two legs went, then I can't really have a complaint. But one thing that I will certainly have a complaint about, as we all will, is this game was only going to be remembered for one thing. And it's sad that it's what it's going to be remembered for, and it's obviously Cadella's racial abuse to Glenn Kamara. Now everybody knows what he said. Well, I'm going to put in inverted commas, allegedly said, because as Ali touched on just before we passed to Scott there, the handling of it from Slavia Prague has been disgusting. And if anything, they're only making things worse, and it's a shocking state of affairs, really, and it's. I mean, I don't even know where to start. I mean, the continuous statements that they're bringing out, the reporting abuse to police, they're fucking trying to do anything that they possibly can. Police have now come out and said that they want to speak to Cadella at this point when he comes back into Britain. Also seen David Edgar from Heart and Hand on his daily update. He said they wouldn't be surprised if Slavia play the whole he's injured and he won't be travelling card. And if they do, that shows them guilty as fucking charged as far as I'm concerned. Now, Ali, obviously we could go on a full show about this. I fully back, and I fully will back till my last breath Glenn Kamara and the way that the club are handling this. And Slavia Prague are, well, scum, really.
Yeah, I mean, we spoke in length on a Club Deck Corner, I think it was. We spoke in length on it, but we spoke in length on it before Slavia really started making all these statements. I think I said I would punish the player, and when I say punish, I would put a lengthy ban or ban him from football, but I wouldn't punish the club. But since then, Slavia have come out with some amount of ridiculous statements. The guy covers his mouth apparently in games all the time. He said, "Fuck you, man," or "you fucking man," which doesn't even make sense. Glenn Kamara, and we've said it for day one, is one of out of that Rangers team. He's not timid, but he's just a nice guy. He's a guy that's not going to lie. Why would he lie? And you see it with Zungu and Goldson, and it's shocking for a guy. Why you need to do that when you're going through with 2 minutes to go is beyond me. Slavia have obviously had previous in terms of their support chanting before, and yeah, just some of the statements have come out is baffling. I mean, they're rivaling Celtic at points with the amount of statements they're bringing out at the moment. It's ridiculous. And covering up CCTV, planning attacks on their players. I mean, it's like a soap opera. It's ridiculous. And I think David Edgar makes a good point. If this boy doesn't come and travel with this Slavia team and they make an excuse like you say that he's injured, he is guilty as charged. I'm telling you. We all know he's guilty. We all believe Glenn Kamara. And the problem is, and I think we all know it, is UEFA's going to do next to nothing about this. They'll do nothing. And it's shocking. And yeah, obviously, Scores, you can take away. You've not really said your point in this because you went on the club deck corner, but I know you can put your thoughts towards it.
Well, firstly, I'll jump in on a point that you just made there. The Czech Republic came out with a statement today, I think, saying that he's not coming across to play Wales due to safety concerns.
That's a lot.
That came out earlier today. Seen that.
What's the safety concerns?
I don't know. I've not had time to look into it. It was
the police want to speak to him. So, that's a joke, man. I never knew that, Scotia, but that just screams guilty to me.
It screams guilty to me as well, mate. It really does. Sorry, right, Scotia. Your thoughts on the whole?
Well, no, I can be honest. I could go on about this for half an hour, so yeah, I'll keep it fairly short because I think it'll be treading a lot of what people have said. But I could go into a lot more detail and a lot more anger about it for half an hour plus. Fully believe Glenn Kamara. Just seeing him as a footballer, hearing what other people are saying. I think Davis came out in an interview yesterday or today saying that as soon as he seen Glenn Kamara react the way he did, he knew he'd been racially abused. Because Kamara is quite similar to Davis in that respect, that they do their talking in a football pitch by playing football.
It's like professionalism, mate. It's like they're just like ultimate professionals in the way they handle themselves on a football pitch.
Yeah, so fully believe Kamara. Absolutely disgusted with how Slavia, the club themselves, have kind of dealt with it. The stuff with their fans is absolutely horrible to see, but there's the fact that it's their fans. How much can they do? Well, I think a lot of the statements that we were putting out were stoking the flames of that happening. I think it would have happened regardless, to be honest. There's not much a club can do other than try to stop telling fans not to do it. There's not much more they can do up and above that, but I think what they were saying with their statements was kind of that incendiary commentary about it that was making it more and more likely that something like that would happen. Yeah, I'm absolutely disgusted by it, to be honest, and they should be getting the book thrown at them, both club and player. I'm never one for liking full whole life bans. There's got to be I've always feel there's got to be a kind of degree of, what's the right word for it? Remedial
kind of thing.
Yeah, can't mind the word. Like, just the whole subject gets me a wee bit riled up.
Redemption, you mean?
Redemption,
like rehabilitation and stuff.
Rehabilitation, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like you've obviously, it's completely different situations. This is far worse, but you've obviously got things in Scotland this season that you can see when that's worked and it's looked okay. So I'm getting myself kind of wound up about it and not being able to articulate my points like I would like to. Yeah, disgusted by it, and yeah, fully behind Kamara. I think that's the best way to sum it up for me at the moment until cooler heads prevail from my perspective.
Yeah, and I think it says a lot, mate, that we're all three of us are still pretty wound up by it all. It's just not on. I mean, as I say, we could go on and on and on about it. And the sad thing is, I think the biggest reason that we all get so upset about it is because we know UEFA will do fuck all about this. I'm of the fond belief, mate, that guy gets banned for life. This isn't something he said in anger. He's made the point of walking to Kamara to cover his mouth and to say it. He knows exactly what he was doing. I would ban that guy for football from the rest of his life. My personal opinion, go play in your backyard. I don't give a fucking where it is, but you have to. You have to. UEFA have to action something. They have to do something. But I think the sad part of it all was that they won't.
Yeah, I mean, what I would say.
Sorry, Scotia.
Well, I'll just jump in. What I'll say is we are three white guys that probably never really suffered racial abuse at all in our lives.
Never.
So imagine what it's like for someone that has been racially abused. I can't even begin to really comprehend what it must be like. So the fact that it's making us really angry and upset, to be honest, yeah, can't imagine what it's like for someone who has to deal with it. In that respect.
And to me, Slavia should be disqualified from this year's Europa League, and we're not saying for just to get it out there, Rangers should be put back in.
Yeah,
Arsenal should
take
be
the
given
words out of my mouth, mate. Yeah,
because we didn't deserve to go through end of, but Arsenal should be given a bye into the next round, and Slavia Prague should be banned from Champions League next season as well. I'm sorry, that should be it.
I agree with you, mate. I can't disagree. I don't think any punishment's harsh enough for this carry on. And I get where you were coming from initially, Ali, when we first spoke about this on one of the pods, was that you can't really punish the club for the reactions of one player, but their handling of this, they deserve absolutely everything that comes to them. I'm saying what comes to them. Nothing's going to come to them because this is how UEFA work. It's pathetic what UEFA are doing and what they will do. I will be shocked and I'll happily eat my own shoes if I'm wrong in this, but I just don't see UEFA doing anything, and it's really, really sad. But I'll just leave it with this, gentlemen, is that us here at Club at 22, we stand with Glenn Kamara, we stand with Kamar Roof, and we stand up against racism. Fuck Slavia Prague. I mean it. Honestly, I hope we do get them in the next round, because God help them, I swear to God. Anyway, gentlemen, we'll move on to happier times. We've come to the end of our European campaign, unfortunately, and it was obviously tarred with that horrific incident. But we'll move on to what we think is our goal of the tournament for Rangers. Now, as I said from the get-go, and since we spoke about Kamar's Roof goal, we'll probably all agree Kamar Roof's goal is the best goal in the Europa League. I don't think there's any doubt about that. It definitely is. It's ridiculous, it's outrageous, it's spectacular, it's everything that you want. But pick your second best. So, Ali, do you want to go first, mate?
Yeah, I know Scotia-Scotland game's coming on soon, so I'll keep it nice and short for
yes,
him.
So it is. Sorry, I didn't know it's the time, Scott.
Yeah,
sorry,
keep
mate.
It short for him. Mine's Scotty Arfield against Galatasaray. I love a team goal. I thought that was an outstanding goal. We Alfie with the dummy, Tav with the fizz ball, and Hadji in a corner. That was my goal of the campaign.
Brilliant. Scotia?
Yeah, I've got 6 noted down. One of them being that Arfield goal.
I thought you might have watched this bloody Scotland game.
I do. I've got it on in the background, just no noise on it. I think I said it when we were first talking about it. I think I'll probably go for the Tav goal against Galatasaray. Again, it was a really well worked team goal. But those, I'll just quickly run through the other ones if you want me to, because we spoke about them.
Yeah, go for it.
The Kamara one against Benfica away, that was good to link up play with Aribo and Morelos, and then slipping in Kamara to score. I think the Eton goal against Poznan was a really good goal. Patterson's goal against Antwerp, coming off in 16 seconds, and then we spoke about it at length, is Kent's goal against Antwerp that same game. And I think all these goals they're important goals. They're not goals that are coming when we're out of sight, we've won the game. They're all goals that kind of solidify that win, or the goal that wins the game.
Yeah, both of you have got a good shout there, and I'm actually pretty chuffed, and this isn't planned, that we're all going for something different. So obviously you're probably able to tell by the way that I spoke about the Kent's third goal against Antwerp, but I'm going to go for that. I fucking loved that goal, and I could watch that goal over and over again, because it's got Morelos doing what he does best, it's got Hadji on the wee half turn doing what he does best, it's Kamara fizzing the ball into Hadji, and it's Ryan Kent being at the right place at the right time, being on the right wavelength as Morelos, and it's a great goal, and a very important goal in that game as well. So yeah, I'll go for that. So we'll go for pick your player of the tournament. So Scotia, do you want to go first? Who's your player? Not the player of the year, your player of the Europa League, mate.
Yeah, it's a difficult one, to be honest. I've got a couple of kind of options to go for, and because you've put me first, I'm going to have to stick my neck out a wee bit.
Don't give the options, just give who you're going to give.
You know what? I'm going to give it to Alfie. I think this is probably going to be shaded by how he's played in Europe more recently, but he was quite important in some of the other games as well. But I think I'll give it to Alfie, because I think he was tremendous in the 2 games against Antwerp. I thought Alfie was absolutely brilliant.
Outstanding, man, definitely. Ali?
Similar to Scotia, and I won't give the other name. There's another guy that I thought was very close, but I'm going to give it to the guy that we talked just recently about. I thought Glenn Kamara was outstanding. I think Glenn Kamara comes alive in Europe for Rangers. I just think he suits European football. He's grown as a Rangers player this year. I've seen he's hopefully maybe getting a 2-year extension. He mentioned when he was interviewed with Finland there. I know they drew 2 each last night, but Glenn Kamara for me, I thought he's a Rolls Royce of a midfielder now, and I just think he makes Rangers tick in that midfield in Europe.
Well, it's brilliant that we're all probably going down different paths here. I really like this. I had 5 names noted down for this, to be honest, and it's purely based on watching things back from the start. So I had Barisic noted down, I had Tavernier, I had Arfield, I had Kent, and I had McGregor, because McGregor made some unbelievable saves. If I had to pick one, I'm going to go with Borna Barisic, because I think he's been very important for Rangers in terms of his assists as well, and the quality of ball that he seems to put in for Europe, and his performances. He's been steady through the whole tournament for us. I think Tav's a very, very close second, and I do think
that was my close 1 second, yeah.
And I think Arfield's probably quite close, especially in the kind of group stages. Arfield was fantastic for us. Obviously, he picked up his injury and he's not really hit back his best form since then. But yeah, I mean, there's been a lot of standouts for Rangers in this tournament, which leads us on nicely to kind of tie this up. So, Scotia, I'm fully aware that your game's kicking off very shortly, mate. But
it's all right.
Can I wrap up this year's campaign?
Very impressive. Purely, let's take away the 10 minutes at the end of the last game we played that kind of overshadows quite a lot, and obviously because it's so recent, there is that kind of recency bias about it that's completely on our minds. But I think if you look back on it, overall, I think we can be really, really pleased with how we've performed. The team can be very proud of themselves. I think I'd said after the Slavia game the other week that it's further progress in Europe. I think we've played better this season than we did the previous season. Adding on it, I actually went in and looked at something and was fairly shocked to learn that after the games in Europe this season, we've only dropped points, I think there was one game that was a League Cup game. We've only dropped points in 2 of the games, and that was Celtic at the weekend there, and then Hibs right at the start of the season after Red Imps, which are probably 2 of the games you would look at and say, even if you were fully prepared, you would drop points in them. So we didn't, all the games we played after the games in the group stage and stuff, went on and won. And I think, although we're talking about Europe, that's a clear improvement in the team and how we're playing in Europe as well, that we're going into the league games and not conceding. But the thing that surprised me is it's fairly similar last season as well. I've got it in my mind that we lost a lot more than we did after playing in Europe, but we didn't. That shocked me. But I think this season in Europe we've been really, really good, and I think we can be proud.
Ali?
Yeah, I think Scotia summed up really well there, to be honest. I thought it was always dodgy. The format was slightly different in terms of the knockout, where the qualifying rounds, a 1-game tie is dodgy. Honestly, you don't know if you're going to go home or away. I think, like we said, we were lucky with the home tie with Galatasaray. That wasn't the away. Again, it's progress with Rangers. We've topped our group. We didn't do that last season. We're getting to the last 16. Last year when we played Leverkusen, we weren't in a good run of form at that point. Rangers, we weren't ourselves. This year we've come into it playing better. We could have done better in the last 16, but for me, it's progress. I'm completely proud of Rangers this year. 55 was the priority this season. That's all we wanted. We've got it. And to do this as well is what an achievement for Rangers, and I'm so proud of them. And they've done Scottish football proud as well. The coefficient that Scotia likes, the points, they've done that. There's now, I think, as of next season, the Champions League, whoever wins goes into the Champions League groups, I think. Yeah. I don't know if it's 100% confirmed, but
not 100%.
I think it's pretty much confirmed. But
it's one of the it's confirmed, but it's one of these ones where we need whoever wins the Champions League to be qualify, or no. See, for instance, if Liverpool won the Champions League this season and they finished below the Champions League qualifying places, we won the league, we wouldn't go in to the Champions League group stages. We would need Liverpool to qualify through their league as well.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, But yeah,
it's all very complicated, that kind of shit, to be honest.
I completely forgot about the coefficient stuff. I didn't even look at it.
But yeah, in terms of that, Rangers doing Scottish football proud in terms of coefficient. And yeah, I think it'll be a great learning curve with us going into Champions League, lads, which we've all craved. We're going to the third round, and then we've got the playoff round to get into the group stage of the Champions League. I mean, to be back in Champions League would be, I was at the last Champions League we were at. It'd be brilliant to hear the music. We all crave that, and yeah, brilliant by Rangers, absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, I agree with both of you. I think we can be very proud of what Rangers have done for the past 2 seasons, really, in Europe. I think matching last year's achievement by getting to the last 16 it is progress. I mean, it might not be a stage further, but I think it's definitely progress. And I'll leave it with one stat: 9 wins, 3 draws, and 1 loss. It's an incredible run in Europe, and I don't think we could really ask for much more. So, gentlemen, we have reached the end. I really enjoyed that, to be fair. That was really, really good. It's went on quite a bit, to be honest, but I've did really, really enjoyed it. Scotia, I'll let you get away and watch your Tartan Army, mate. So, Scotia, thank you very much for your time, mate.
Yeah, cheers. We'll probably get beat, but such is life.
Ali, thanks very much, mate.
No problem. I'll probably watch the Scotland game as well. To be fair, I know we're not.
I'm going to watch it.
I want them to win, obviously, but I know you're a defender. I know you're a defender at heart, Scotia, and I just seen Jack Henry's playing centre half. Oh God!
What's happened to our centre halves over the years, mate? Gone by the times of Weir and the likes.
You can do a show on that one time, Scotia, on the pod if people want to hear it. But anyway,
crying.
Thanks very much, lads. It's been brilliant. If you've enjoyed this show, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, give us a thumbs up on the video, leave us a wee 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts. It really does make a huge difference and really does help support us. Also, let us know if your player of the Europa League was the same, or who it was, who you agree with, who you disagree with, and what your goal of the Europa League was by commenting on our Facebook post or on our YouTube video. Thank you to all for listening. We really enjoyed it, and hopefully it's helped ease the pain of a Rangersless weekend coming up. So we are Club at 22, the Rangers podcast, and we will speak to you all next time. Cheers.